Tarek Skubal, Hunter Brown, and Joe Ryan all go 7 shutout innings and a pitcher's kind of Sunday. We'll be getting to all of it on MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. I'm your Sunday night host, Brian McCann, alongside my partner and Locked On Braves host, Lindsey Crosby. Lindsey, what's going on tonight?
He's excited to be here. Excited for a victory Sunday. A lot of great pitching performances today.
So much great stuff that we're going to get to. The Cubs and Yankees both creep closer at the top of the divisions. They led by a late comeback from the Cubs, actually. The Mets also failed to improve on last week's performance against the Phillies. But before I get to that, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. So, Lindsey, what we were just talking about, Sunday Night Baseball concluding the Braves at the Phillies. Atlanta wins this game 3-1, but the Phillies take 3 out of 4 in the series from Atlanta, really beating them up in a lot of these games, scoring a ton of runs. Hurston Waldrop goes 5 2/3 with 4 hits, 1 earned, 4 walks, and 9 Ks. And Jesus Luzardo, another great performance from him, 6 2/3, 2 hits, no earned, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Lindsey, Matt Olson in this game ties it in the top of the 8th with the ground out to drive the runner in. And then Drake Baldwin comes in, the potential rookie of the year in the National League. I want to ask you, did this walk-off pinch hit performance, what kind of pinch hit, quasi-pinch hit, whatever you want to call it, did this walk-off pinch hit performance solidify him or put him into the National League rookie of the year favorite?
In the eyes of FanDuel, it did. I checked after the game. They officially moved Drake Baldwin up to first place in the odds over Cade Horton and Isaac Collins. And it's something where Drake Baldwin has just been consistent all year. He's not had that huge moment like Isaac Collins has had with the walk-off homers and things like that. Drake Baldwin gets the 9th inning home run to avert a sweep in the house of your biggest division rival. I think he's now the favorite, and all he has to do is keep performing, and he should run away with Rookie of the Year.
It's fascinating how all these storylines have taken place. The Braves, who have had an underwhelming year and really not been able to get things going because of injuries, potentially gave Drake Baldwin a chance to actually win this award, gets him, into playing full playtime and everything like that. Really is cool from this. Just question from you: did we have a short for this or not? I'm mistracked. We do not have a short for this. The Braves head to Chicago for 3 games against the Cubs. That'll be a really fun series. And the Phillies are going to head to Milwaukee, which is an unbelievably outstanding series. The Brewers seem to play these tough opponents and have tough opponents in their schedule, but they beat them. So it doesn't really affect the Brewers when it comes to playing tough opponents. The Phillies are now going to have a 6-game lead over the Mets for that National League East title, so giving themselves a little bit of room after being swept last week by the Mets. On to the Brewers at the Blue Jays. Speaking of those Brewers, Toronto wins this game 8-4, but the Brewers take 2 out of 3 in the series. Let's hear from Chuck Freeman of Locked On Brewers on this game.
Yeah, I thought this might be a Brewers day when Contreras hits that first inning 2-run blast. You're thinking maybe a sweep in Toronto, but it was a rough outing from Brandon Woodruff. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. Didn't get some help from the defense early on. Miscue at second base, some flares and all that. But still, hey, a loss is a loss. That's what happens. He stuck around for 4 1/3, 10 hits, 8 runs, easily his toughest outing since coming off the injured list in early July. But Brewers still took 2 of 3 at Toronto. Move ahead. Dollar Dog Day at the stadium on Monday. Bring your appetites. Brewers beat the Phillies in a 3-game set. They swept them earlier this year. The Phillies come to town, really, obviously one of the best teams in baseball. But they just took 2 of 3 from the Jays. The Brewers, you know what they do against these good teams. They always seem to rise to the occasion. Not today, though. We'll talk to you a little bit later on in the next edition of Locked On Brewers.
Again, still took 2 out of 3 in the series, and he's right. They do rise to the occasion when they play these good teams. It doesn't seem to affect them as much when they play good teams. Woodruff didn't give them a performance they needed from this game. 4 1/3, 10 hits, 5 earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. So really gave up a lot of hits in this performance. Max Scherzer went for the Blue Jays. 4 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned, no walks, 1 strikeout, which is very rare for Max Scherzer. You don't see that a lot, only a 1 strikeout performance. Nathan Lukes and Miles Straw both had 2 RBIs. George Springer also reached base 3 times and scored twice. So the Brewers are going to wait the Phillies for 3 at home. That's going to be a must-watch series if you're a baseball fan. They're now 6 games above the Cubs, as we just mentioned, in the Central. The Blue Jays are going to head to Cincinnati for 3 games. They're now 3 games above the Yankees in the American League East. Yankees got it down to 2 games, which is crazy how this division has turned. And they had a chance to gain some ground in that division with the Blue Jays. You didn't know what was going to happen in the Blue Jays game. Yankees started a little earlier. They're potentially going to have a chance to get it down to 1 game when they played the White Sox going for a sweep, and it wasn't enough. As I move on to the next game, Chicago wins the game 3-2 against the Yankees. The Yankees take 3 out of 4 in the series. This is coming off of the Yankees having off of a 7-game winning streak. So they've beaten up on the bad teams this year, which is what the Yankees have tended to really do. In years past, Yankees can't beat the bad teams, and they beat the really good teams. This year, they're beating up all the bad teams, but as I keep saying on my show, Locked On Yankees, Lindsay, you can only play who's on your schedule, and you can only play who's in front of you. If they're going to be up on the bad teams, that's good for them. That's what you're supposed to do. Am I wrong?
It makes sense. The Yankees are 500 against teams who are 500 or better. They're 37-37. So when you look at being 15 games above 500, all of that comes against the bad teams. It's like there was a discourse for a little while about Aaron Judge gets a lot of homers off of meatballs. Yeah, you're supposed to hit those for home runs, and he doesn't. Exactly. Same thing. You're supposed to beat the bad teams. The Yankees have been pretty good at doing that this year.
So Luis Gil goes in this game for the Yankees, gives him 5 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Martin Perez goes for the White Sox, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Judge did homer in this game, like you were saying. He homered in the first inning. It tied him for 5th on the Yankees' all-time list for home runs with Yogi Berra, which is unbelievable that he's there already. He's going to move into 4th place before the season ends because 4th place is Joe DiMaggio, who's only a couple ahead of the 2 of them. So that's maybe that.
What a list to be on.
Yeah, I don't know if you have it up right now, but I was going to ask you if you. Yeah.
It's Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, and then Aaron Judge. Like, that's what a list to be on.
One thing I mentioned on my show earlier, which is really fascinating. I don't know if you have the number up there exactly of Lou Gehrig, what he finished with in his career.
493. Isn't
that absurd for not playing a full career? Like, think about how many home runs the guy hit, and his career was cut drastically short due to the horrible disease. But yeah, he would have finished with 700 home runs easily if he played through his 30s. It's remarkable how many home runs he has when you really think about it.
And he hit 340 his career. It's just an absurd number.
Yeah, he has a year in there with 171 RBIs too. It's video game numbers that the guys put up back then. But yeah, Aaron Judge will move into 3rd to 4th on the Yankees all-time list, which is pretty cool and deserving for him. He's starting to turn things around a little bit. You're starting to see it a little bit, and he's starting to get his timing back a little bit. So if he gets going with the way Stanton's been hitting, the Yankees can become a scary team. Out to the NL West, which is also another fascinating division. Dodgers at the Diamondbacks. Dodgers win this game 5-4, but they dropped the series in 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks, which, quite frankly, most Dodgers fans will probably tell you is unacceptable. Brandon Pfaadt here, 4 1/3, 8 hits, 4 earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Yamamoto, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 10 strikeouts. That'll start the theme of the absurd pitching that we saw on Sunday. Some unbelievable, ridiculous, just single-handed starting pitching performances that we don't get a lot in today's modern-day baseball, but an unbelievable performance out of Yamamoto. Will Smith walked it off with a homer in the 9th inning in this game, one of the best catchers in all of baseball, and I think one of the more underrated catchers in all of baseball, to be honest with you. D-backs are going to stay home, take on the Texas Rangers for 3 games. The Dodgers are going to stay on the road. They're heading to Pittsburgh for 3 games. That starts on Tuesday. They sit a game ahead of the Padres in that NL Central, which is a battle. The Padres have this weakest schedule in all of baseball. Dodgers have the 4th weakest schedule in all of baseball remaining. So
like Padres go to Baltimore, like have Baltimore. It's not a hard matchup. No, given all the injuries and the trades and things that Baltimore's made. And so, and the thing is really annoying. I talk about this a lot on the weekend. These 2 teams don't play each other anymore this year. They're done playing each other. The Dodgers and Padres are finished before we get to September. That should be illegal, Rob.
Yeah, and begging for a postseason series, though. That would be an unbelievable postseason series. Speaking of those Padres, we're going to get to them on the other side. They had a chance to catch up on the Dodgers with the series in Minnesota. We'll let you know how that one went. Well, today's show is brought to you guys by Upside. Hey, Locked On MLB fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year from just buying gas that you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card from Amazon or other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now and use my promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Disclaimer, the offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Also, Locked On MLB is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with the can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, I love using FanDuel, in-game parlays, anything that you want at all moments. It's all available on FanDuel, and it keeps you more engaged in every single game, making them more exciting in the process. Plus, it's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to your Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now and by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. So, Lindsay, on to that Padres-Twins series. As I mentioned earlier, the Padres had a legitimate chance here to take a step up on the Dodgers, and they just aren't able to. They lose this game 7-2. Minnesota takes the series in 2 out of 3. Crazy stuff out of this Padres team, right? Because you looked up and down this lineup, up and down the bullpen, up and down the pitching rotation. There's not a lot of gaps in this roster at all from the San Diego Padres. And yet they seem to be the exact opposite of the Yankees. When they play bad teams, they can't take advantage. And when they play good teams, they rise to the occasion. What's your explanation for this, if you have a brief one for me?
I think it's just the Twins don't matter. I feel like they get hyped up for the tough games, and the Twins the season's over, right? They sold everybody at the deadline. And so the Padres just are struggling with the motivation on this.
I'll give them this. I was at the game last Friday, that Dodgers-Padres game. My first time out to San Diego. Immediately became one of my favorite stadiums in all of the league.
The environment is so loud.
It was my 20th stadium that I've been to, and it was one of the nicest ones I've ever seen. Just so cool, so blends into that city perfectly. Also, the environment, like you mentioned, elite at baseball environment. It felt like a playoff game while I was there. David Morgan goes 2 innings for them. Not acceptable. 1 hit. It was a bullpen type of game. Kyle Hart and Wandy Peralta were the problems here. Gave up 3 earned out of the pen each. Really not positive for them. And one of those elite pitching performances that we talked about. Joe Ryan, 7 innings, 5 hits, no earned, 1 walk, 8 Ks. Twins are probably happy they didn't make that trade at the deadline that everyone was seemingly asking for them to make. Byron Buxton, it is 29th of the season. That's a new career high for him, and Royce Lewis had 2 RBIs. The Twins are going to stay home for 4 against the White Sox. The Padres are going to head home for 3 against the Orioles, like you mentioned earlier. They now sit 2 games behind those Dodgers in the NL West. That is going to be some race to finish off the season for sure. Angels at the Astros. Angels win this game 3-0. They take 2 out of 3 from Houston. That's who the Yankees are going to play next. So that'll be an interesting series with Houston coming in, sliding a little bit. Jose Soriano. You want to talk about those crazy pitching performances? 7 innings, 1 hit, no earned, 3 walks, 8 Ks. You're seeing a theme here, Lindsay? Everyone's going 7 innings with 8 Ks. Crazy stuff. Hunter Brown, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 3 walks, 5 Ks. Not too shabby for himself, but not enough to outduel Jose Soriano here. Oswald Peraza, former Yankee great, gets his first home run as an Angel in the 5th. Mike Trout doubled to drive in a runner. I saw this when I was scrolling through the pages working on the show, Lindsay. Mike Trout this year, I know he missed some time early, 231, 20 homers, 54 RBIs. He has fallen so quick. It's kind of sad to see.
He's dealing with the bone bruise in that left knee that he had to have surgically repaired twice. And it just feels like ever since that happened, he's not the same guy. They've been DHing him a lot. He's not playing in the outfield. And for some reason, Trout at DH is not the same kind of guy as Trout as an outfielder. So I was happy.
There's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys like that. I think playing in the field, you've heard a lot of baseball players say it keeps your mind off your last at bat.
Helps them.
And when you're going back into the dugout, you're focusing on your last at bat and you're burying yourself in that. And these guys get caught up in that. Giancarlo Stanton is that exact same player. Like I think you just said. It's really crazy. Angels and Astros are going to finish their series on Monday, which is very strange. They play a Friday to Monday 4-game set.
Wrap
classic.
around, yeah.
Yeah, like we've always seen. Tigers at the Royals as I move on. Detroit wins this game 5-0. They take 2 out of 3 from the Royals, who really needed to start winning games. Tell me if you've heard this one before. Tarek Skubal, 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned, 2 walks, only 4 Ks, though. He didn't meet the 8K requirement for Sunday, apparently. Michael Wacha, 4 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts in this spot. Tigers scored 4 in the 5th inning, and Tyler Rogers drove in 2 with a triple. Gleyber Torres also drove in another.
Yankees great.
Yeah, former Yankees great as well. Gleyber Torres. The Tigers are going to welcome the Mets into town. That's a big series for both of those teams. Tigers not as much, though, because a 9.5-game lead over the Royals. That division is all but wrapped up. So the Royals' only chance of getting in at this point is to get that 3rd wild card spot. The Tigers are just on cruise control the rest of the season, which could hurt them in the first round of the postseason. We've seen this a lot. When you're kind of playing with your food the last month of the season, you don't really go into the playoffs with as much of that urgency as you need to. So we'll see. That it might benefit the Dodgers and the Padres.
Yeah,
playing neck to neck for that division title.
Maybe Skubal stays locked in because he's trying to win the Cy Young for the 2nd straight year. Do you have him or Crochet winning that? Garrett Crochet of the Red Sox.
You know, it's interesting.
You can't be a Yankees homer and say it's not going to be Crochet just because he's a Red Sox.
No, and Crochet hasn't beat on the strikeout numbers, which they tend to focus on a lot nowadays. I will say this: voter fatigue is a big thing with these awards, and I don't know if they give it to Skubal 2 years in a row. Yeah. Just like I don't think Judge is going to get the MVP now because they're so desperate to give it to Cal Raleigh, even though in my opinion, we can argue this on a whole nother time. To me, Judge is the one, and I'm not saying this is a Yankee guy. I'm sorry,
Most of his numbers are much better than Raleigh's.
Raleigh's 780 OPS is not nearly as good as not the OPS. The batting average. Cal Raleigh's batting average at 240 is nowhere near Judge's 340, but we'll discuss that another day. That's going to aggravate me for the rest of the show now. Royals remain 3 back in the Mariners for that last wild card spot. That's what they're fighting for. And Pirates at the Red Sox. A chance for that divisional, that wild card spot. The Red Sox could have moved up here. They get the 5-2 win. But Lindsay, like all these other teams that are chasing the wild card spot, they dropped 2 out of 3 to Pittsburgh. Let's hear what Gabby from Locked On Red Sox had to say on this game and series.
Jarren Duran, once again, proving that his speed is super valuable for the Boston Red Sox. I'm Gabby Maljanian from Locked On Red Sox, where the Red Sox just defeated the Pirates 5-2 right here at Fenway Park. And they avoided getting swept in what would have been a very embarrassing sweep at home against a Pirates team that struggles to score a lot of runs. But Jarren Duran was the hero today, had other ideas, said this team is not getting swept today as he hit an inside the park home run. And it just shows more and more how valuable having that type of speed is on a major league roster. Whether Jarren Duran has been struggling a little bit at the plate this year compared to what we've seen from him in the past, that's definitely reasonable. But the fact that he is one of the fastest guys in the sport shows that he'll be able to stretch extra base hits. And this one proved to be a very valuable extra base hit as he stretched it for an inside the park home run, something you don't see very often. So make sure the Red Sox continue to win. Also tune into Locked On Red Sox on any podcast platform for more on this team.
Yeah, she said, noted at the top there, that a sweep of the Pirates would have been embarrassing. I'll take it a step further, and this isn't a Red Sox hater kind of comment. Losing 2 out of 3 to the Pirates at this point in the season is embarrassing. Just can't happen. You should be sweeping the Pirates if you're the Red Sox in the position they're in. They had a chance to make up some ground, and they just weren't able to. Mitch Keller goes 5 innings, 4 hits, no earned, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Lucas Giolito, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 5 walks, 6 Ks. He's been great lately, which is crazy. They just got rid of Walker Buehler, who the Phillies are going to pick up. But Lucas Giolito has been, I don't know if they expected that much out of him this year, but he has been unbelievable for the Red Sox. Him, along with Brian Bayo, and obviously Crochet, like you just mentioned, they have an elite level pitching staff that's only going to grow and get better and better. And Jarren Duran, like Gabby said, 3-run inside the park home run in the 5th inning here, wound up being enough in that game. The Pirates are going to stay home.
Sorry. On Giolito, they clearly didn't expect a lot because the 26 deal, the $19 million mutual option, it would have been a $14 million club option if he didn't pitch 140 innings. They clearly didn't think he was going to do very much, and he's been fantastic.
Yankees got away with that too on a Marcus Stroman deal. They were going to owe him $16 million if he got 140 innings, and he didn't come close to that. Nope. So you do see that a lot. Teams will throw in that option saying like, yeah, you get to these innings, stay healthy. And they have no intention of that guy getting in there because they don't believe in him at all. But it gets a guy to sign there. Pirates will stay home for 3 against the Dodgers, like we mentioned. Red Sox are going to stay home to take on the Guardians for 3. They hold a 2.5 game lead for that second wild card spot. And Lindsay, on the other side, we're going to talk about 2 teams in the AL that were chasing up for that wild card spot after this. And this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. Now, I've been playing Prize Picks lately, and it's such a fun way to stay locked in for the season. It's quick, easy, and honestly, it's my favorite way to follow along with football. And I love checking all the projections like Josh Allen for more or less than 270 passing yards, or I get involved in the Saquon ones, more or less than 1 rushing touchdown. It's all available every Sunday and it keeps you involved. And the best part, even if one of your picks misses, Prize Picks invented the flex play, so you can still double your money even if your picks miss. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code ONEWORD LOCKED on MLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. That's code ONEWORD LOCKED on MLB for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So, Lindsay, the Mariners at the Guardians, both of these teams chasing in for that final AL wildcard spot. Seattle takes this game 4-2. Cleveland takes the series in 2 out of 3. Let's hear from Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians.
Guardians took 2 or 3 from the Seattle Mariners, but fell on Sunday as they had to face multiple opponents in this game. Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. Guardians did take 2 or 3 from the Mariners in a very well-played playoff-like weekend, at least for the Guardians. But they didn't score enough runs on Sunday. 2 runs is not going to win you many games when you're facing any team, let alone a playoff team. And Tanner Bybee pitched pretty well, just not well enough for the Guardians to win because they had to face the replay system. The Guardians should have been tied 2-2. Inning in the 7th inning there should have ended with an out at first base instead of the Mariners scoring 2 runs to go ahead 4-2 on a very close play at first base. Also a very close strike call. That same at bat as well. But again, the offense didn't get it done, and they're also facing time. The Guardians are running out of time and games to try to mount a comeback. They're 4 back in the wild card race, so they're running out of time here to run down a playoff spot, which actually is more their fault than the calendar's fault. They know where they are. George Valera, former top prospect, will join the Guardians in Boston to start another critical series on Monday. We will have that all covered for you on the next Locked On Guardians.
Yeah, like you said, 4 games back in that wild card spot, Lindsay, and there's about 5 teams fighting for that one spot in the American League. I do feel like I'll ask you this now. Yankees and Red Sox, are they guaranteed for those top 2 spots, and then we're going to see who gets the third, or do you think one of those teams can fall off?
I don't think I'd say guaranteed, but it's 99%, right? And even Seattle, I like them a lot better than any of the others, simply because we talked about this earlier in the show. Record against teams over 500. Seattle's 42-36. Everybody behind them is not only below 500, they're at least 10 games below 500 against teams with winning records.
And they're led by
Cleveland. Yeah.
And they're led by great starting pitching. So that's a super key for Seattle there. Julio Rodriguez drove in 2 in this game with an infield single, and the Mariners snapped a 7-game road losing streak, which just can't happen at this time of the year. Yeah. Like you said, Tanner Bybee pitched really well, and Bryce Miller was really, really good in this game too for the Mariners. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. That Mariners team's going to head to Tampa for 3 games, which doesn't bode well for my Cal Raleigh to not win the MVP because the baseballs fly out of that ballpark in Tampa. So expect Cal Raleigh to add 2 or 3 home runs in this series. They sit 3 games back. They hold the 3-game lead actually for that final wild card spot over the Royals. The Guardians will stay home and play the Red Sox for 3. Guardians are 4 back in the AL wild card. So, like we said, got to get going here. Speaking of the wild card spot, but to the National League, Marlins at the Mets. So the Mets are coming off, Lindsay, of sweeping the Philadelphia Phillies, going into a 4-game series against the Marlins. So you're thinking, all right, we sweep the Phillies. Phillies get the Braves, which could be a tough opponent. We get the Marlins coming in. Mets should be in a prime position to maybe, possibly, somehow tie the National League East? Nope. They
Nope.
lose this game 5-1. They lose 3 out of 4 to the Marlins and go right back to where they were previously. How in the world does this happen?
Starting
I'll tell
pitching.
you how. Yep. And Sandy Alcantara, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Had a terrible season, saved his best start of the year for at the Mets to poo-poo on their parade. Kodai Senga, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 5 earned, 2 walks, 6 Ks. This has been the storyline with Kodai Senga all year. Gives them zero length in games. And I'm sorry, as good as you are, you don't serve your team much of a purpose if you're not going to give your team length late in games.
Nobody's giving them length right now except for some of the rookies. I mean, like,
it's terrible.
They went like 2 weeks and didn't have a single pitcher pitch into the 6th inning. Like, they're not getting length from anybody right now, and it is killing this team.
Yeah. So Alcantara hit Vientos with a pitch in this game, causing the benches to clear. He then went on to throw 7 innings, so he got over it real quick. Augustin Ramirez hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd. The Marlins led 5-0 after the 5th inning. Get this stat too. So we talked about no length out of the Mets starters and not getting a lot of help out of their bullpen. August was statistically the best offensive month in New York Mets history. They scored the most runs they've ever scored in a month in August, and they went 11-17. So it's just not a recipe for success right there. If you're the New York Mets, the Marlins are going to head to DC to play the Nationals for 3 games. That Mets team, like we discussed earlier, is heading to Detroit, which is not an easy spot for them. They're going to avoid Scooble, so they have that for sure. But they hold a 4.5 game lead over the lead for the final NL wildcard spot. But as we've seen with these teams, that can be erased really quickly. So you got to be careful and you got to play these teams tight. Cubs at the Rockies. What an interesting series this was. Colorado wins this game 6-5. Cubs take 2 out of 3. Almost got the sweep. We do have a short for this, correct?
Yes, we have Justin Olber. No, not Justin Olber. I'm sorry. We have Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs for this one.
Well, let's hear from him.
Disappointing end to the road trip for the Chicago Cubs. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast. You sweep the Angels. It feels like you're back a little bit. Then you go get swept in San Fran. You win the first 2 in Colorado and then lose a walk-off on Sunday. Matthew Boyd's line, again, it won't look great. I thought he pitched better than his line, made a couple bad pitches, had some Coors Field stuff happen to him. Ian Happ hit a dramatic 3-run home run to tie this game in the 8th inning, and you felt like, all right, well, that would be a really good way to end the road trip. The Cubs haven't had a late comeback like that since, I want to say, early July. But it wasn't meant to be. They didn't score enough runs. Daniel Palencia, who's been real shaky lately, especially in non-save situations, wasn't able to get an out in the 9th, and the Rockies walk off the Cubs. The Cubs finished the road trip 5-4, but just not enough stacking of wins, not enough consistent performances right now, especially offensively.
He's right, and what's crazy is with that inconsistent performance, that series over the Brewers that we were talking about last time when me and you worked together, they got it's back to 6.5 now, the divisional lead or the Brewers have, which is still in reach for the Cubs somehow, which it just shows, it's an attest to how good the Cubs have been all year. That division was at 11.5 when we last spoke, and it's already cut in half. So 5-4 though on that road trip, they had a chance. Problem is the Brewers, every time the Cubs think they have a chance to catch up on the Brewers don't lose to good teams. So really tough there. Cubs are going to head home for 3 against the Braves. Mickey Moniak had a walk-off triple in this game too, which is really cool. And the Rockies are going to stay home for 3 against the Giants. I know you'll all be tuning into that. Rays at the Nationals. Tampa Bay wins this game 7-4.
Speaking of tuning in, Rays at Nationals.
Seriously. Rays sweep the Nationals in this series. Now, that is important because I don't know if you realize this, Lindsay. The Rays are within 5 games of the last AL wildcard spot, which is the most Tampa Bay Rays thing to ever happen. They were dead and out of it, and now they're all of a sudden right back in it with a good 2 weeks because Tampa Bay, that's just what they do.
Yeah.
Ian Seymour, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Brad Lord, 3 innings, 5 hits, 7 earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Brandon Lau hit a grand slam in the 2nd inning as the Rays were up 7-0 after the top of the 3rd. So this game ended really quickly. Rays are going to stay home and take on the Mariners, which is now a huge series out of nowhere because, like we said, Cal Raleigh's going to have a chance for that home run record, but also Rays sweep the Mariners here in 3 games, and don't look now. They're 2 games out of a wild card spot, which is crazy to think of.
And that ballpark is going to negate the pitching advantage that Seattle has because it gives up so many home runs.
Great point. Great point out of you. Nationals stay home for 3 against the Marlins. Again, get your MLB season passes for the last month. You're going to want to watch that. Cardinals at the Reds. Reds win this 7-4. Cardinals take 2 out of 3 over the Reds, who really needed these games. Another team that just couldn't come through when they needed to win. Andre Palante, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned, 4 walks, and 6 strikeouts. And stop me if you heard me say it already on this show. Brady Singer, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned, no walks, 8 strikeouts. You had a ton of really good pitching performances. His numbers don't look that impressive, but the 8 strikeouts, he's been so good for them all year, too. Austin and Cabrian Hayes, both of them had 2 RBIs in this game, and Matt McClain homered as well. Cardinals are going to stay home for 3 against the Athletics. The Reds will head to Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. They're still 4.5 back of the Mets for that final wild card spot. It's getting late early for that Cincinnati Reds team.
Mm-hmm.
Orioles at the Giants. San Francisco won this game 13-2. They took 2 out of 3 from the Orioles here. Sagano went 3 1/3, 10 hits, 7 earned, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. Justin Verlander, 5 innings, 3 hits, no earned, 4 walks, and 10 strikeouts, moved into the top 10 all time in strikeouts, which is crazy. Verlander's figured it out a little bit after the terrible start to the year. He started to figure things out. Another guy who's figuring it out in San Francisco, Lindsay, Rafael Devers. Homered in this game. The rest of the Giants came, base hit. All their runs came on base hits. 6 in the 6th and the 8th. The Giants scored 13 and 15 in their victories in this series. Rafael Devers had 9 home runs in the month of August. That ties his career high for a month. So he's really figuring things out in San Francisco. I'm sure Red Sox fans would love those contributions right about now. Orioles are going to head to San Diego like we discussed for 3, and the Giants are going to head to Colorado. And last but not least, the Rangers at the Athletics. Jacob deGrom pitched in this game. Texas wins the game 9-6 and sweeps the series, keeping themselves only 3 games out of that final wildcard spot. deGrom goes 5 innings of 2 hit ball, no earned, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. JT Ginn goes 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Jock Peterson and Josh Jung had 3 hits and 2 RBIs, respectively. 3 RBIs and 2 RBIs, respectively. Rangers won the season series here 4-2. So thank you for joining us for this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We hope that you'll come back and visit us next time on Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night.